getting pressure, Roger. Roger, I'll stop.
You're seeing what few people have ever seen before. The Gulf of Mexico, 1,075 feet down. Global Divers and Contractors was there, diving into the future and the history books with a record-breaking dive, conducting business as usual. While Global takes pride in having worked its way to the bottom, much of their work takes place in only 30 feet of water, in nuclear reactors. Whether it's nuclear diving or diving into the deep, Global has been a pioneer in the field of underwater welding since the company began in 1964. Now employing more than 150 people, Global's experience record is among the longest in the business. Because of the intense physical and psychological requirements of the work involved, Global selects its divers and support personnel with great care and is able to attract the very best divers in the business.
It's been said many, many times, you're only as good as the people you have with you, and I have to agree with that. One of the reasons that Global has been so successful is because of its diving personnel, and identifying and locating these young people is difficult at best. But we go through an extensive testing procedure. When we find individuals that match or exceed the personalities of those successful young divers currently with us, then we hire the new recruits and bring them on board for training. Young men, when we first hire them into the profession, and they're fresh out of commercial diving schools, have to serve an apprenticeship.
An apprentice usually works above water as a diver helper or tender for 2 to 5 years before going beneath the surface. A tender assists the divers, learns the language of commercial diving, and becomes familiar with what's done on the ocean floor. He must know how to set up equipment, how it operates, and preventive maintenance before he can become a full-fledged diver. Refresher courses are provided by Global at least every 6 months. Global also adheres to regulations and safety procedures established by the United States Navy. Research and development has played an integral part of Global Divers' success. Its complete engineering department and testing and research facility devoted to the advancement of underwater welding technology allows Global to qualify procedures at its Port of Iberia, Louisiana location, without having to venture outside the United States. In fact, Global can qualify procedures to any depth achievable by diving personnel. One area of research and development eagerly pursued by Global's engineers is wet welding, a process that was first applied on offshore structures in the 1960s. Now, as offshore platforms are aging and deeper wet welds are required, this technology is being utilized more and more.
For those of us who have the personnel and the engineering capabilities and the R&D facilities required to develop these welding standards are those of us that will be successful in pursuing this work. The future of wet welding is where I feel the future of commercial diving really lies.
This state-of-the-art hyperbaric facility allows Global to test and practice pressurized underwater welding. The tank is pressurized to a specified depth to accommodate the changes that take place in welding under pressure. Test runs give Global's engineers the opportunity to make any adjustments necessary before the actual job is initiated. Divers, of course, must go through decompression after each practice run. It's procedures like hyperbaric testing that allow Global to always complete each job within the time frame required. To better satisfy the increasingly complex needs of offshore service, Global has expanded its marine equipment. The Global 111 is a 111-foot utility vessel especially geared to diving and is equipped to mobilize jobs for offshore work at a moment's notice. The boat's stern-mounted permanent crane eliminates the need for additional equipment, such as cherry pickers, and it has a lower bow to accommodate live boating. The ability to transport crews independent of a third-party vessel gives Global the advantage of firm price bidding. Global has 6 deep diving systems available for offshore service, depending on the duration of the job, the depth of the dive required, and the vessel from which the dive is launched. Here you see a mini-sat system's bell being recovered from the water and mated to the transfer lock. A larger 1,000-foot system is employed for jobs of longer duration and greater depth. Global also has available 2 systems designed in-house to support dives to a depth of 1,500 feet of seawater. It was this total saturation system that was used in the record-breaking 1,075-foot dive. This particular dive was the deepest subsea tie-in in the Gulf of Mexico and was a part of the Conoco-Joliet project. Global completed one 10-inch and one 8-inch co-flexive rigid pipe connection at 1,075 feet, and 2 10-inch and 2 8-inch flanged connections in 1,015 feet of seawater. For a dive of this magnitude at a new depth in the Gulf, an elite team of divers was chosen, based not only on past diving experience and expertise, but on the strength and fitness of respiratory and cardiovascular systems, to be certain that they could withstand the stress placed on the body at those depths. 6 divers were chosen in a unique competition or mini decathlon. This was the creme de la creme of divers. Soon, the job was underway. The divers lived in a pressurized habitat on deck for the duration of the job, commuting to work by way of a diving bell. At a depth of 1,075 plus feet, each bell run took 40 to 50 minutes. 18 of these runs were made before the project was completed. The divers worked in pairs on 8-hour shifts, 24 hours a day.
The top stuff's the routine. The head is what makes it good. We're breathing 98% helium and 2% oxygen. Helium makes your open doors vibrate a little faster and speeds your voice patterns up. Yeah, roger that.
It took 5.5 working days to complete all 6 subsea connections. Global was ahead of schedule. But for the divers, the job was not finished yet. They still had to spend 11 days undergoing desaturation in a dual-chamber 1,500-foot saturation system. It was a day of quiet celebration when the divers emerged, safe and sound, the final link in an historic diving experience.
It was a little bit more than what I expected.
It was deep, dark, and cold, and it was a lot of fun.
It was pretty exciting. First day was kind of hectic. We really just get used to everything, and once we got that first bell run under our belts, everything just smoothed out.
A large portion of Global's diving takes place on the beach, a phrase that divers use for any place that isn't offshore, such as in nuclear reactors. Global's divers are at work in nuclear-generated power plants throughout the nation, making necessary repairs or modifications. Although the divers work in only 30 feet of water, the work is highly specialized. In nuclear work, divers also have to be welders. Because of the intricate nature and inherent danger of this work, Global's divers go through extensive training sessions before each job, and the company adheres to a stringent quality assurance program that meets federal government requirements. A full-blown dress rehearsal or simulated run is performed for complicated jobs in Global's practice tank located in Liberia. A pioneer in the nuclear field, Global's expansion into this type of work came about in the mid-1980s at the request of a nuclear power plant. Global remains one of the few diving companies capable of nuclear diving. Pipelines Unlimited Services, Plus, an affiliated company, provides an added dimension to the company's total service by providing major offshore construction support, including pipeline installation, derrick barge, and salvage services. In addition to Global's New Iberia port facility, Executive offices are located in Lafayette, with marketing offices in the New Orleans area, Houma, and Houston. Whatever underwater services are needed, pipeline work, inspections, underwater welding, NDT work, nuclear plant repairs, marine equipment, salvage, or any underwater problems that need solving, Global is ready for the challenge.
We like to look to new areas of application for our services that no one has yet thought of, and find means and ways of accomplishing these services when others have failed. We take pride in being there first. We take pride in being the best at what we do. We like to take what people may think is extraordinary effort and place that into our daily menu of things to accomplish. We've been successful because we've gone out and done things beyond the expectation of our clients. They've made requests of us, and then we've exceeded those requests and done it a little bit better than we might have anticipated.
Global Divers and Contractors, diving into the future.